Now Mr. Jung receives a notification at the bottom right and thanks to Fleglisoft sees that a new customer has registered. With only 2 clicks he is also on the nice clear customer file of the potential new customer. Thanks to Fleglisoft, Mr. Jung sees the most important information at a glance. The data of the person requiring care, the contact person, the activity overview, which he is able to close and open with only a click, a list of all partner agencies and tasks, file management, listing of caregiver favorites, an overview about the email communication, and, if available, caregiving history. With this digital customer file, Felix can now manage the entire mediation process. This works as follows. In the Tasks box, he sees that the customer profile was already created automatically when Ute Beck completed the care form sheet. Before he performs the next task, Get Caregiver Profiles, he has the possibility to complete the entered information. For this he finds the contact details of the relative and can then in the top right contact them over telephone or personal conversation to collect the remaining care data. This action he can easily do with a click on the pencil icon on the box on the left. The care data are structured in the tabs Personal Information, Cognitive and Communicative Abilities, Mobility, Disease-related Requirements, Independence, Social, Care and Support, Care Needs, and Requirements for Caregivers. After Felix has discussed the details with Ute and filled them in, he can record the conversation in the activity log with a click on the paper icon. He does that real quick. Next he can get the caregiver profiles. To do this, he simply clicks in the Care Agencies box at the eligible caregiving agency on the button Obtain Profiles. Automatically, the appropriate text template is loaded and a file with the entire care needs is generated. That looks like this. By clicking on the Send button, the data is sent to the employee Jakob of the Ostagentur 24. Mr. Ogniesh receives the email, opens the attachment and sees all relevant information about the care need. On this basis, he sends 5 personal suggestions including references back to Mr. Jung. Only a few seconds later, Felix receives the email message directly in the relevant customer file. With one click he can view the message and the caregiver profiles. These can be saved on the server and locally by clicking on the download icon. With this, Felix has successfully completed the steps obtaining caregiver profiles, which he confirms via click. The next step is setting the caregiver favorite on the line. For this, the file management box is important. All of the caregiver profiles that Lebendio has sent are already stored there. With one click on the plus symbol, more updated caregiver profiles can be uploaded into the file manager. After a careful examination, Mr. Jung decides to forward all suggestions of the Lebendio agency to the end customer. Therefore, he clicks on the star symbol for each relevant caregiver profile. Shortly thereafter, it appears in the Caregiver Favorites box. By clicking on Send Favorites and Submit, he can now send the caregiver favorites with the text template including all attachments to the customer. Ute Beck now receives the email with the caregiver profiles. An appointment for a meeting is arranged, in which the caregiver profiles are discussed. And after this discussion and a thinking time with consultation, Mrs. Beck decides for her favorite and announces it now by email with a click on Answer. As usual, the email is automatically sorted into the correct customer file, and Felix can quickly and conveniently view Ute's decision. The Beck family decided on the caregiver Jolanta Oljewski. Now Felix can tick off the already completed tasks, presenting favorites to the end customer, and customer chooses a caregiver. The next important to-do is getting the final availability for the caregiver. For this we see that under the Tasks box, the box has changed to Confirm Availability of Caregiving Agency. This box always adapts to the next task to be done. Now you can manage the availability requests in this box. It's really easy. The selected caregiver has not yet been included in the system. By clicking on the Select box, Felix can create the caregiver profile immediately. The caregiver is Jolanta Oliewski. She's 38 years old, female and comes from the agency Ostagentur 24. With just one click, the caregiver profile is created and saved. And now Felix can ask for availability by selecting Jolanta Oliewski in the Select box. With the button Ask by email, he can now send the text template stored in the system to Mr. Ogniesh from the agency Lebendio. Jakob receives an email from the Lebendio agency within a few seconds and confirms it with the reply button. The message arrives immediately on Mr. Jung's screen, so that now the next step for him is imminent: the conclusion of the contract. For this purpose, he creates the concrete offer by pressing a button and enters the data on the caregiver and the daily rate. Alternatively, it will soon be possible to specify an agency fee. Shortly thereafter, the offer is generated. In addition to the offer, Felix can add all other important contract documents and send to the end customer with a click on the Send Offer button. Ute Beck receives the email with the documents and after she's read them in peace, accepts the offer and confirms acceptance by email. In a few seconds, Felix receives the answer and sees that the offer has been accepted. The contract is now closed, so now the last details, for example regarding the arrival, can be discussed. Within only 20 minutes, Felix was able to perform all mediation procedures. Experience shows that it takes a whole hour for our customers. This means that you save a great deal of time.